Hello and welcome to one of the Eberly College of Science Office of Science Engagements presentations. Today we are going to be talking about career development. Before we go further in the presentation, I advise you, if you can, to click along with me at this particular URL. You are actually able to have access to the presentation, and as I will be clicking along on different links, you'll be able to do so with this particular URL. And I recommend that you put a pause on this particular recording. So if you want to be able to have this second window up to be able to hear the recording as well as to click along with me. So if you want to pause, do so, and then when you're ready, just resume. Now I will then proceed. We feel that going to class is just not enough anymore. You'll hear about employers, medical school, law school, graduate schools, all talking about wanting students with experience. Well, how is it that you're able to get that experience? Well, as a start, through the Penn State Office of Science Engagement, we have the resources to connect you to those particular types of opportunities. Our Office of Science Engagement is a team of 4. So you have myself, Dr. Anne Marie Daniel with Career Development, Krista Miller with Global Experiences, Sharon Jackson, who's our administrative support and has all sorts of resources, and Dr. Tom Levasu as our director and our expert on undergraduate education. And you'll find us in 224 Rittenhour. And just a little bit about me, all right? So just looking at this particular image, can you guess what it is that I'd like to do? Okay, images, all right, they are very powerful. They say it's worth more than 1,000 words, and you probably guessed that I like the outdoors and hiking. You are certainly correct. And so when somebody meets you for the first time, if they'll go by images or they'll go by what it is you happen to write in an email and get an impression. And you don't have another opportunity to make a second impression. So you always want to be able to portray yourself as to who you are and to look at every opportunity to interact with others in a positive light. So just want to let you know about myself. I've been part of Penn State for over 25 years, and I have taught and advised students in many different types of roles. I happen to like music and arts and sports and reading and animals, and of course the outdoors that you see, with my favorites being cross-country skiing, canoeing, hiking, and going to Penn State hockey games. A little bit about my background, all right? I am the Career Development Coordinator, and I'm the first one in the college. In fact, the position didn't exist. I was the first one to be able to fill it. And where I'm going for is, what particular major do you think that I had to get to where I am today? So that pauses to help you think a little bit about that. But actually, I could be any major, right? A lot of it depends upon the types of experiences that I've had, the type of knowledge and training. And just to let you know, my background actually is in biochemistry. I have a PhD in biochemistry. And through my different types of experiences, I've been advising students and helping them with their next steps. And those have all accumulated to an opportunity to where I'm able to serve as the Career Development Coordinator for the college. So why should you care about career development? Many of you are in different stages of discernment. So we're going to cover that today. We're going to look at what you can do with your science degree, some resources, how-tos, and then actually I am going to have a quiz at the end, just as sort of recap of the key points of this particular presentation. All right, so what we want to let you know is that we want you to get engaged, to get involved, all right? I mean, what does engagement mean? For us, we actually means it's success. It means that you're being proactive, that you're showing up, you're getting involved, you're trying to find out things that you like. And the more involved you are in something, particularly, actually in the classes or doing things outside of the classes, it's going to help you with your grades. It's going to help you getting a job or going to professional school or graduate school. The nice thing about this is when you feel that you've got an accomplishment for something that you have done, it helps you gain confidence. And certainly if you've had more experience and done things outside of the classroom, you'll have an advantage over others that are seeking similar positions. But probably more importantly, the fact that you've been able to make a difference. I mean, who doesn't want to make a difference here in their lifetime on this earth? So you'll get that satisfaction and fulfillment the more engaged and involved you are in doing different things. So the next steps that we're going to look at is, what is it that you'd like to do? What is it in science that captures your interest, or even outside of science, because there are various skills that you're picking up with things that you enjoy doing or learn doing that can be transferable to all sorts of different areas. So what I like to think of this next series of slides, as we're focusing on what is it that you like to do, is the different types of careers and what I call Science Plus. And so the goal with these next series of slides is to help you become aware of types of positions that you might not have thought about. Now, maybe some of you already know what your career direction is. That is great. I think it's important maybe to be aware what else might be out there. If you're not sure, hopefully this will give you some ideas. So are you ready? Here we go. All right, this first image we're looking at is something going to be science called business. We're looking at folks that maybe might want to start their own business, right? Every particular company had to start somewhere. You might want to become part of a managerial track and help run the business as a chief scientific officer or a chief executive officer, maybe a vice president or president. Or perhaps you want to be involved in managing and directing. So this is interacting with people with the particular business that you're looking at in mind. The next career area we're going to explore is going to be that of communications and science writing, right? This is where you're disseminating information to others. You can have a career where you're interviewing scientists and report on scientific findings in journals like Science News or Scientific America, or maybe the science sections in newspapers like the Wall Street Journal. You could be editing scientific manuscripts like Science or Nature. Or maybe you want to become a scribe for a physician and assist them in report writing. Another area could be researching, writing, editing reports and manuscripts or grants for others. If you are interested, I believe, in becoming a medical writer, I believe you will need a PhD credential to go with that. Our next particular career to explore would be consulting, right? What is consulting? Well, actually, consulting is giving advice or guidance to others. So one might say that your academic advisors are serving as consultants. The nice thing about consultants is you're doing research, getting information, and you're presenting options, for others to be able to consider and follow. And then it's up to those individuals to decide whether they will follow your recommendations or not. So some areas that you might want to look at if considering this type of a position would be an analyst, a consultant, perhaps a genetic counselor. That's an area that is growing and you will need a master's degree to pursue that. Next up would be science plus diagnostics, right? And so the diagnostics could be that of living organisms. So this would be where you could be involved as a nurse, physician assistant, a physician, a surgeon, a dentist, perhaps a pharmacist, optometrist, veterinarian, etc. But you might not have considered being able to diagnose ailing pieces of equipment, where you might provide technical support for a CAT scan or an MRI that is broken and to be able to fix that. Or perhaps an electronic device and you're on the other end at customer service to guide somebody through in terms of how to fix that item. So this would be Science Plus, Diagnostic and Technical Services. You probably can figure out what this one is, right? So this would be your Science Plus Education, right? You're involved in teaching others. So there's the K through 12 route, or maybe being at a community college or a college. But there's also teaching that can take place within an organization where you're training employees to stay up to date on what is the latest. So the teaching can take place, in academics, in government, and certainly in nonprofits and in other employers and in industry. Okay, one thing to look at perhaps is science plus entertainment or performance, right? You can show that science is important and relevant to the public in an attention-getting manner. And so you're reaching a much, much broader audience and more individuals. Some of you might recognize the individual that I'm portraying here, but you have Discovery Channel, Animal Planet, Mythbusters, Bones, CSI. Those are just a couple of examples where folks might be behind the scenes as script writers or even performers or ones that are actually administering the material to share with others. And so there's lots of things that to be able to explore, and even movies, just as an example. Next up, we've got science plus law, policy, and regulation. Here you're trying to protect the people, the property, and the ideas. Patent law is an area to think about, right? So you're either patenting the process, or protecting one's patent or copyright. There have been recent battles in the news over this. Policy is developing guidelines, such as for cloning or genetically modified foods. You could be a politician or lobbyist, or maybe involved in the regulation and enforcement of law, where you're looking at compliance on the particular laws that are out there. But maybe you want to be involved in actually making things. And so this would be through manufacturing, science plus manufacturing. And so certainly there is the production line, but maybe you didn't think about the possibility of scaling up from research. What if there is a particular therapeutic agent that you're not too sure if it's going to work? So you've got the clinical trials, 1, 2, and 3, with each one getting bigger and bigger with more sample size, but you need to be able to make up those materials enough to find out if it's going to work or not before dedicating, say, a full facility to making that item. So that would be called scaling up, or the development process. And then once you find that particular therapeutic agent, well, how are you going to be able to deliver it? Is it something they'll be taking orally, or drinking it, or having as a nasal spray, or maybe an injection? Does it need to be time released? So there, an area could be formulation, where you're figuring out the other stuff, the inert ingredients besides the active ingredients, to put that together to make that delivery work. One area too to think about might be quality assurance. This is where you're trying to improve and stabilize the production and the processes, the system that actually has to make it, and make sure that it's actually consistent. Another area is quality control, right? This is where you actually inspect, sample, and test the product itself. Do little spot checks to make sure it actually is what it is that you claim it to be, or what it is supposed to be. Is it as active as it should be? And doing particular types of tests. Right, so that would be your science plus manufacturing. Another one would be science plus marketing and sales. So this is where you're trying to figure out, are there need areas? And what could be the product value, and then actually advertise and sell the product. Maybe you want to try to create a particular type of need. So the sales part is definitely the direct interaction between the customer, right? It's the one-on-one type of relationship and rapport, finding out what the customer needs, and is your particular product going to be able to help them and convince them that your particular product is better than something else. But you also might want to do the market research side of it, whereas you're doing the behind the scenes to find out what the level of need is out there, and how much value, how much cost people would be willing to pay for that particular item. And so some areas career-wise could be being a marketing research analyst, for the marketing side of things. If you want to have that direct human-human interaction, then there's technical sales, medical equipment sales, and then certainly the pharmaceutical sales representative. So that would be science plus marketing and sales. But then there's also science plus research, right? So what is research? Well, research is pushing the frontiers of what is already known to discover something that is unknown. So you're trying to find the answers to the why, right? And some areas to look at would be, again, an analyst, because you're trying to figure out some of the unknowns. Could be a computer or laboratory technician, maybe a research assistant, or a particular type of a scientist, right? So all of those particular career areas would be, exploring, the research. So as you can see from this particular career wheel, this Science Plus, right? Look at all the different career destinations where you can apply with your science and math major. So as I shared earlier, as my role as a career development coordinator, right, my undergraduate degree was biochemistry. And I certainly didn't plan to be where I am, but my various experiences helped me pick up the different skills. I learned more about myself each step of the way. And so I was prepared for that particular job that didn't exist yet. And that's what Penn State is trying to do, prepare you for jobs that don't already exist. And one of my favorite quotes is by Dr. Louis Pasteur, and that is, "In the fields of observation, chance favors the prepared mind." All right, so with Penn State Science, all right, what is it that we can be doing to help prepare you along that particular avenue? So that's our next step. So career preparation. How about experience it, right? Is this something that you like to do? And no better way than actual experience it. Maybe do research here at Penn State, or participate in an internship over the summer. There's also a co-op. A co-op is an opportunity where You are there for maybe about 6 months. It's multiple rotations. You receive a full-time salary with that, as well as college credit, and you're really embedded within the company. Our Office of Science Engagement can help you explore co-op experiences, and yes, with proper planning, you can finish your degree in 4 years and still be able to fit into co-op. And then the internships, those are things that can be for credit or not. They are sometimes paid or unpaid. Those are typically in the summer, and they run anywhere from 2 weeks to 3 months. So get some experience. Find out a career area that you think you might like. Try an internship, and regardless of whether you like it or don't like it, you'll be picking up new skills that will help you to the next step. How about those in the job that you want, right? Maybe go and interview them, and I'll talk about that in the next slide coming up. Find out what they like about their job, what is their day-to-day duties, and then as they describe all this, how is it that you can picture yourself to actually be doing that? Then certainly parents, faculty, advisors, friends, alumni, let them know what you're thinking about, what you're concerned, what you're exploring. They're there to be able to help you. One of the big things that we haven't been able to figure out is telepathy. So without us being able to read your minds, we're going to rely on you to come let us know what some of your dreams and visions are. Certainly there's websites and literature and career fairs, and I'll be sharing some websites coming up. And then how about a professional organization, right? You think you want to be a particular profession, there's usually a professional organization out there, and they often have careers and definitions about what they're all about. Consider looking into them, reading about them, and then here at Penn State, there's many clubs that are dedicated to the particular field. So for example, there's the math club and stats club. There's the physics has an organization. There's the forensic science club, biology club, biochemistry, microbiology club. So definitely chemistry, Nittany Chemical Society. All these clubs, exploring the particular field area, and some of them are actually offshoots of a public, a professional organization. So the career information interview is something that you can use to talk to somebody in a career that you are interested in. And the beauty of this particular approach is it's a way to expand your network. It's to talk with somebody who's actually in that job and see if that's something that you're interested in. And as a student, you have the power to just pick up the phone, call and set up an appointment to talk with them. And this is nice because you're still exploring. Most of the folks that you interact with, they remember when they're a student, and so they will be happy for 2 reasons. One, somebody's interested in the job that they're interested in, right? And then also they remember when they were a student, most folks don't get to where they are by themselves, and so they're more than willing to give back. And so with the career information interview, I realized growing up, we were told not to talk to strangers. But in my professional world, I'm certainly connecting with folks that I've never met before. And in many times, all my impressions and interactions have actually been through electronic correspondence. But what you can be doing is when you contact somebody, you can certainly ask them about their particular job. Find out about the academic credentials to get to where they are, and then what the daily responsibilities. And certainly when you're doing this career information interview, you just want to keep it to be about 15, 20 minutes in length. And definitely mention that you are a student and you're just trying to explore different career areas. Other things that you can ask about is, do you have a supervisory role? Who do you have to report to? Are there opportunities to be able to grow within the organization or within the field? And then sort of a little sensitive, but maybe ask about the salary range, or you can certainly maybe look that up online, but get an idea of the job prospect in the future and the knowledge that is needed for success. Now, within the business world, right, it's important to expand your network, interact with others, and networking really is a give and take between 2 individuals, right? And you're both trying to get to know each other, you're on equal footing. And in the professional world, networking is sort of, again, trying to expand Facebook, but it's more the personal interaction with another individual. And so within the United States, these are a couple of suggestions. The key way to start off with a networking on a face-to-face matter is actually through the handshake. And when you're shaking hands with somebody, all right, you want to make sure that it is a two pump, 1, 2, and then let go, with the web of your hands interacting with the web of the other person, and that the shake, those hands are actually perpendicular to the floor. You want to make sure that you don't want to be that aunt or uncle or grandmother or grandfather who does the more than two pumps where they don't let go, right? And one of the things that you want to be mindful too is just, you know, an equal squeeze. Some folks try to do like a power squeeze, and that you don't want to do because it's trying to show control over another person, but you also don't want to give them just one or two fingers either. So you want to have a nice solid handshake. People will get an impression of you through those nonverbal communications. When you're giving that handshake, lean in slightly to the individual. That shows interest. Certainly if the other person leans away, don't lean back again. They're sending the message that maybe they don't want to interact with you as much. Oftentimes at these networking events, they're going to ask you to put on a name tag. I've seen a name tag on many, many different places, but I recommend the right side. Reason being is as you're extending that right hand to shake the hand of the other person, right? Their eyes can go up the arm, right? That name tag will be right next to your chin, and it'll be really easy for them to remember your name because they can very easily look at the name tag and correlate it with your face. So it is a matter that you want them to interact and remember you, not necessarily who you know, but who knows you and remembers you. Now, these type of interactions, you know, to strike up a conversation, you want to just keep it to be about 30 seconds. 30 seconds is sort of where people get an assessment, whether they like you or not like you. That's sort of that assessment period. But when you're conversing with somebody, you want it to be a nice conversation. And you don't want to go into all sorts of detail about yourself. Maybe find out a little bit about the person, what they like to do, their connections to Penn State, how they like the particular position they're working in, and then give them a chance to ask you questions and volley back and forth. Key thing is to really show interest, smile, show that this is something that is fun, and if you can, try as much as possible to remember the person's name. So as part of the conversation, sprinkle in their name periodically as a nice way to remember, and at the end, maybe mention their name in passing. It was wonderful to meet you, Mr. Ms. X. And then what you'll notice is actually, and this is a tip that I received at a presentation, I believe it was at the time, a vice president of customer service, who had mentioned that, well, you know, if you end with the person's name, subconsciously they're going to smile. They're going to remember how you made them feel, and then they'll make that positive feeling connected with your name. So they might, over time, forget your conversation, but they remember how you made them feel. So here, changing gears a little bit, we're going to be looking now at some websites that are out there, and you can take a look at all of these later on, but one of my favorites is actually My Next Move. So let's do a quick exploration. And if some of you are need to access it separately, just hit pause on the presentation and then just resume when you're ready. But My Next Move is an opportunity where you can actually explore. You know, if you're not too sure what it is that you want to be doing, they have a whole series of questions. I participated in this and found actually all of my jobs listed over the years. So that was actually fun to see. And they separate it, you know, with these questions, what is it that you like? And then they'll offer some ideas of careers out there based on the personalities that you would need a bachelor's degree or a high school degree or an advanced degree. Then if you want some more details about the type of career of interest, then you can type in. So for example, I'm going to use what they have here and type in doctor. Right, and we'll do a search live, and you'll see they'll come up with all different types of professions that are related career-wise to being a doctor. So I'm just going to collect family and general practitioner, and all of these have the same type of template where they'll also have other names that that particular career is called, a definition in terms of what they're involved with, and some expected activities, what type of knowledge that you need to be able to get into that area, about some skills you want to be able to build, right? And being able to have other types of abilities. And key, certainly, is looking at the personality for this particular profession of being a family and general practitioner. There are folks who do well in that job, need a concern for others, attention to detail, integrity, dependability, self-control, and analytical thinking. These are sometimes what are called soft skills, things that you can demonstrate in how you act toward others. More on that a little bit later. It'll tell you the type of education that you'll need. So definitely you'll need an advanced degree past a bachelor's, gives you an idea of the job outlook, average salary, and then you can check out the state and find more information. Okay, so this is just an example of one particular resource. Okay, and you can certainly look at these other resources later, depending upon what particular interest you might have. One thing about the career, well, actually, let's click at Career One Stop. So this particular website is actually a bit more detailed. It takes the same data, but digs it a little bit deeper, where you can actually explore the careers, look for opportunities and internships. It has all sorts of resources if you're looking for interviews or for resumes. And it also has some really nice videos. I'm going to scroll down a little bit, where you can actually explore different types of professions, and they have a whole series of video clusters that you can search and use this particular screen up here to be able to look into that. All right, now we're going to move along back to the presentation. So what is the strategy, right? So what I recommend is that you search every day for about an hour to see what's out there. I'm mainly thinking, depending upon if you're looking for a summer internship, or if you are looking for undergraduate research here on campus, or maybe you're looking for a full-time position or for opportunities. And then revisit those particular resources weekly, particularly if you're looking for an internship or full-time position, because jobs are constantly coming and going and being posted. And I've seen where actually one particular position was posted on a Wednesday and actually was taken down the following Monday. So some places have a very quick turnaround, so you need to be ready, have a resume ready, have a cover letter ready. Apply promptly. Many will have a start and end date, but sometimes if they find enough candidates early on, they will close it early, so don't wait till the deadline. Or what they might do is they just might keep it open until they find a qualified individual. So as soon as you see something that is available, apply as soon as possible. Don't wait, because it could be sort of a rolling admissions. Some of the research experiences at academic institutions might have a hard deadline, but the earlier you can get something in, the more that you can be assured that it's all the information that you have is there. Definitely consider attending career-related events on campus. So here on University Park and also at the branch campuses, what you'll find are career fairs. You're going to have employers coming to visit. Maybe there'll be some seminar speakers. Go to these. Learn about what things folks are doing. And whenever ever possible, get the business card. Get the business card. That is sort of the key to get into learning more about that particular organization. Maybe you might want to consider contacting specific companies, either by the phone or maybe if it's a place that's close to your home, to learn about opportunities or actually look on the web for things that might be posted. And then follow up, right? So say you have applied to a particular position and it's been maybe, a month. Consider following up to find out the status of your application. Have they started interviewing yet? Is it still open? Are they still collecting resumes? And if you did happen to have an interview, then definitely follow up with a thank you, an electronic thank you, maybe within 1 to 3 days. And then if it's really a position you like, a handwritten one that is mailed out 1 to 2 weeks later. Those particular follow-ups serve two purposes. One is to show appreciation for the other person's time to look over your credentials or meet with you to interview you. But the other purpose is actually to show them that you really want to work for them. You want to be part of that particular organization. And that thank you note is also a way for them to remember you. So there's multiple ways for that particular strategy. So typical application steps, you first do the search. What's out there? All sorts of possibilities. What is it that you like to do? It certainly would be great to have an experience that connected with something that you enjoy, and even better down the road that you're able to find a career that pays you for what it is that you like to do. Definitely have a resume, and then a cover letter. I've heard mixed messages about the cover letter. They do take a lot of time. In fact, both the resume and the cover letter should be customized to the position that you are seeking, and that you use keywords that you will find within a position description and incorporate that within the resume and the cover letter. A lot of things you might want to look at for these keywords are things that are written within the position description, and definitely what they're looking for as qualifications and preferred qualifications. The cover letter takes a little bit of time to put together. Essentially what you want to start off with is sharing your interest for that particular organization. So the first paragraph is really customized to that employer. Read their website, incorporate some things that you've read about their particular mission, show how you're a fit to that particular mission. You definitely do not want to be able to put in another employer's name in that first paragraph and still have that paragraph make sense, right? You really need to customize it. And then you want to next address why you're interested, some evidence behind that interest. It's not to be a repeat of your resume, but really to be explanation of one or two experiences where they've had an impact and how those experiences make a connection with the job that you are seeking or experience that you're seeking. And then at the end is a call to action, again, expressing your interest and how you want to meet with them, hopefully in the future for an interview to discuss your qualifications further. Next up, references. Let people know that you are planning, if asked to provide their name, let them know ahead of time. No longer is it seen to have references included on the resume. Resume usually is focusing on your experiences. A little bit back to the resume, which I forgot to mention. Things is typically a resume is one-sided. If you are seeking have enough material and research position type of position that you were seeking, then it's certainly okay to go on to the second side of a piece of paper as long as you have enough material to go halfway down. And later on in my presentation, I will be stopping, but if you use the earlier URL that was provided, there's more information about resumes, do's and don'ts, and what to include. Going over back to the interview would be your next process. So essentially the resume and the cover letter is to get you the interview, and then to go through the interview, that is to help you get to the job. Definitely have the thank you notes after that interview, and then even do the follow-ups just to find out, to get a gauge into how much time they will be taking to make a decision. And then if you haven't heard for a while, just to do a follow-up to find out where you're standing. And again, those follow-ups serve, two purposes. Again, one, it's re-expressing your interest to be part of that organization, and two, it helps them remember you and that, you really are interested and can picture yourself working with them. So another resource that we have on campus is the Bank of America Career Services. So if you want to, you can certainly pause a moment. We are going to be clicking on that particular link. And what you'll find is a whole lot of information. What's really nice up front is they actually have a career guide. So there's a PDF version that you can take a look at. But what I want to be able to share with you is under students, they have a whole bunch of different resources that are available for you regarding opportunities, interviewing, resumes and cover letters, more specifics, internships, additional information that is also there on the guide also. You can actually go through a mock interview. And so this is wonderful to make that particular type of appointment, get a practice, whether that interview happens to be on the phone or whether that is going to be Skyped, or maybe it's going to be actually on site and in person. So it gives you all sorts of tips. And then if you're still part of looking for different searches, then you'll find here, one moment, is the Nittany Lion Career Network. And so the Nittany Lion Career Network is actually where employers can post some of their particular positions. So I'm going to click on the student login. And what you'll be able to find within this is under the Nittany Lion Career Network jobs, you can do all sorts of searches. So I'm going to show an example where I'm actually going to put in parentheses intern, right? And you'll find as of right now, there are 555 types of interns that are out there. And so take a look at what might be interested to you. So for example, one that just got posted, so today is the 27th of October. So here's one where we're going to look at a field research intern that was just posted yesterday. And when you click on a particular position, you'll find what they're looking for as a GPA, bachelor's level degree. It's an intern. It provides a description in terms of what they're looking for. So this is actually 3 months and the duration. They're looking for qualifications. They're looking for a senior standing in genetics or a related field. Now, if you are not a senior, that's actually fine, because this should give you an idea of careers that are out there and what it takes to be able to get those types of positions, and you can be amassing those experiences along the way. But this just gives you an example of how to interpret a particular area to be able to craft a resume. Just using this as an example, you want to be able to show where you've been motivated, show how you started, how have you worked well with others. Don't just tell me you have good communication skills on a resume. Instead, show me what you've done, connections with others. And therefore, all right, so we will pass out away from this link. And then another one I want to be able to show you is actually events like career fairs or particularly information sessions. So with the information sessions, it will let you know different organizations that are coming on campus that you can check and take a look to get some more additional information. Okay, so I will close out of this particular resource and back to our presentation. Oops, sorry about that. Go back to resume slideshow. There we go. All right, so next up is some science career-related courses that are out there. So there is SC 101. So this is offered every semester where they're focusing on job placement skills and strategies. So if you'd like some, extra help to guide you in the process and some, this is a resource to be able to consider. It'll certainly help for those of you who might feel you might procrastinate in the process and need a little bit of guidance to consider that. In the fall, I teach actually SC 402. This is a course on science-related employment where I bring in Penn State alumni to talk about different topics relative to corporate culture. And some examples would be startup companies, large companies, roles within large companies, perhaps looking at typical corporate benefits, ethics, your first years, advancing within an organization. So these are just a couple of examples of topics. And then afterwards, you have an opportunity to meet with the guest speaker outside of class to dig a little deeper on the topic or find out some more details about the career path. So it's rather amazing too, because you'll also learn more details about different career areas in addition to research. We've got marketing, and those that have become vice presidents, those have started their own company within business, those that have gone into regulatory affairs, just as a couple of examples of guest speakers we've had in the past. So coming up, actually for spring 2018, we do have some career events. So we've got Spring Career Days, February 5th and 6th at the Bryce Jordan Center, and then the Care Fair, February 22nd. More details, the links are live, but they won't be posting those particular details of who's coming until probably December of 2017 and January 2018 for the Care Fair. So here's our quiz that I talked about earlier, right? So this is sort of recap a little bit about what we've been talking about and hopefully stick key points that we want you to have as takeaways. So why is it that you should care? Engagement equals success. Yes, get involved. Don't just sit there in a seat. Be proactive in your future. Find out what's out there. This is the best time to be able to explore your interests and find out what it is that you do like and what you don't like. What can you do with your degree? Science plus. Pretty much science plus anything, right? We've talked about, business and science writing and consulting and diagnostic services, teaching, regulatory affairs, what else? Marketing and sales. So much that you can do with your science degree. Name two things you can do to prepare. Oh, we had many of them that were listed. Right? Get some experience. Find out what it's like is one of them. Talk to family and friends and advisors about your thoughts, and they can help guide you. Others certainly would be websites and career fairs, information sessions, professional organizations, and clubs on campus. Name a website resource. Well, we went exploring on the Nittany Lion Career Network. We also went and explored the Career One Stop, and we also did My Next Move, and there's certainly others that were posted in the presentation too. What can you find in the Nittany Lion Career Network? Well, they post internships and full-time jobs, certainly. There's also career fairs that they post, in addition to employer information sessions that you might want to explore. And there's more. So, can you change your resume, true or false? We didn't quite go into that. The answer would be true. Yes, you want to customize your resume, right, to the position that you're looking for. So if you're looking for something that's more teaching related, then include teaching related materials. If you want more medicine, then have medical related experiences first. If you'd like more laboratory or computational, you get the idea. Put those types of experiences first. If you are a first or second year student, then it's certainly okay in my mind to put high school information. However, once you are a junior and beyond, no more high school on a resume. Department and advisor emails have useless information, true or false? I sure hope you said false. Those folks are putting together information that they think would be of benefit to you. And explore those, read those. There's opportunities that come and go. You don't know until you try something. So please, please read what your advisor and department emails have to say and share. So in summary, right? All right, our Office of Science Engagement, we encourage you to take the extraordinary path, right? Don't just go to class, all right? Going to class is really not enough anymore. You need to be doing something more to do the next step and to be successful. There is data that shows the more involved you are, the data shows, higher GPAs, and it shows the more experiences that you've had, more likely the opportunity for you to be accepted into a employer situation. So how can we help, right? Here is our direct lines where you can contact us by email or by phone. We've got we're in Rittenhour. We do have walk-ins for the fall semester from 2 o'clock to 3:30. Just come on by. Those are just 15 minutes on Wednesdays from 10:30 until noon. Certainly if those times work, send us a phone call or an email, and we'll be happy to schedule in throughout the week. So I want to thank you very much for your time with this presentation. We wish you well for a successful semester, and come visit us. And again, this is Dr. Anne Marie Daniel from the Office of Science Engagement, signing off and wishing you a fulfilling and successful semester. Take care. Bye.